All right, so today we're not going to be looking at a map. We're not visiting a physical place. Instead, we're going somewhere, well, somewhere that exists wherever poetry finds us. Welcome to the Vanambadi Poetry Club.
And right off the bat, here's the first and really the only rule you need to know about this place. It's a simple greeting, but it sets the stage for a completely different kind of gathering. You know, one that isn't built on who you are, but just on the simple, shared act of listening. So what is this place really? I want you to just imagine this for a second. Picture a cool veranda. They call it a thinnai in South India. And maybe you can smell jasmine in the air. This is the spot. It's where ordinary people, just regular folks, gather to share these extraordinary lines of poetry. And they're not doing it like academics or scholars, but just as fellow travelers on a journey.
Okay, so let's talk about the name itself, because this is really cool. You probably noticed how it's spelled, PoAItry. But here's the thing, you just pronounce it poetry. That's it. The AI is silent, and that's totally on purpose. See, the AI is just a quiet assistant here, maybe helping with some visuals to get you thinking, but it never replaces the human voice. The club's entire philosophy is baked right into its name. Technology is there to serve the heart, not to lead it. I love that.
Right, so every time they meet, there's a theme. And for the session we're dropping in on, the theme is the road that carries us. We're about to hear from 5 totally different people, from completely different walks of life. And each one is going to share a single line of poetry that helped them on their journey. So, let's meet them.
Okay, first up, we have a line that you've probably heard this one before. It's from a really famous poem by Robert Frost. But trust me, the way our first speaker sees it, it's a completely fresh take.
This is Karthik. He's an auto-rickshaw driver in Chennai. And for him, this famous line, it has nothing to do with rest. It's all about movement.
So for Karthik, this isn't about taking a break to look at the pretty woods. No way. It's about the exact opposite. It's about not stopping. He thinks about his promises, his daughter's school fees, his mom's medicine, and he doesn't see them as burdens that are holding him back. Not at all. He sees them as the very things that give his journey, his life, direction. They are the road.
All right, our next line comes from the legendary Rabindranath Tagore. And this one, wow, it just speaks of so much dignity and courage.
And the person who shared this with the group is Meera. She's a homemaker and a self-taught reader from Vellore.
And Meera's story is it's so powerful. Her son was being bullied at school for speaking his native language. So what did she do? She wrote this line, Tagore's line, in chalk right on her kitchen wall. She started calling it her quiet armor. Now, the line didn't magically fix the problem at the school, of course not, but it changed her. It changed how she stood, how she carried herself when she walked in there to stand up for her son. Amazing.
Okay, now we're going to pivot to something completely different. A short, kind of explosive line from the American poet Walt Whitman. And get this, our third speaker is Arav. He's 9 years old. And his take on this line is it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, I just love this one. For Arav, this line isn't some super deep philosophical thing. Nope, it's a permission slip. He's a Minecraft player, a cricket bowler, he watches cartoons, and he's the boy who gets sad about the dog. He's all of those things at once. See, he's not messy, he contains multitudes.
Okay, on to our fourth line. This one is an improvisation on a kural, which is a classic form of Tamil poetry.
And this comes from Lakshmi, a retired midwife who has lived this incredible life of service. Lakshmi's perspective here is just so profound. I mean, she delivered over 200 babies in her career, but she says her real work was teaching the young mothers. For her, knowledge that just sits in books, it's dead. It has no value. It only comes alive when you share it, when it travels from hand to hand and becomes something practical, something like life-giving breath.
And now for our final line. For this one, we're going to travel all the way across the world to a really powerful verse from the Harlem Renaissance poet Langston Hughes.
And who shared this? Clara, a tourist visiting from Lyon in France, who just kind of stumbled upon the club, just happened to find her way there.
And Clara's insight here is just beautiful. She manages to connect this deeply American line to a feeling that is completely universal. She said she saw a construction worker, way up high on some scaffolding in Vanambadi, just humming in tune to himself. And she realized he was singing his song. He was claiming his space. So this line, she says, it's for anyone, anywhere, who has ever been told their song doesn't belong. It's this quiet, powerful declaration, I too sing. I am here. My voice matters. Wow. So, after hearing 5 stories like that, you might be sitting there wondering, okay, that's amazing, but how do I actually do that? How do I make a line of poetry a part of my own life? Well, the club has some really simple, beautiful advice. And it's not about memorization or tests, it's about companionship.
They suggest 3 tiny practices. And the best part? They take literally no extra time out of your day. There's the threshold whisper. You just think of your line whenever you walk through a doorway. Simple, right? Then there's the palm write. Just trace a word from the line on your palm while you're waiting in line at the store. And finally, the object anchor. You pair the line with something you touch every single day, like your keys or your favorite coffee mug. See, the whole idea is just to gently weave these words into the fabric of your everyday life.
And here's something that's just as important, knowing when to let a line go. The club has this beautiful way of putting it. They say poetry is a river, not a collection that you have to hoard. So if a line starts to feel heavy or just doesn't serve you anymore, you just thank it silently, imagine placing it back inside its poem, and you leave that space open for a new line to arrive.
Because ultimately, that's the whole goal here, right? It's not about being impressive or being able to quote poetry at a dinner party. It's about letting the words work on you, quietly, almost invisibly, until they just create what the club calls a softening in how you meet the world. Just lovely.
So we're going to end this with an invitation. After hearing all these stories and learning these gentle little practices, there's really only one question left. It's the same question the club would ask you directly if you were sitting there on that veranda with them. What line will you carry?